What I did with that is I wanted to expand the remit of legal. I thought it wasn't enough to just be the company's lawyer. I needed to do something where I was building, enabling, executing. I could accelerate that emotional connection, that relationship building, and that trust. So I did that at my first company. I did it at my second company. And I've been incredibly grateful that there is a team at Commvault that has accepted me to do that at Commvault. And that is the very long, hard won genesis of chief trust officer.
See, that's really fascinating. And I always, read about or hear about different successful people that are all lawyers, right? At a minimum, they went to law school, they passed the bar, they're lawyers. Whether they practice or not is a different story. But what unique skill sets do you think that you gain in law school that translates so well across every industry, it seems? I mean, there's general managers in the MLB that went to law school, you know?
Right. So, one of the most important is that you learn how to see two or more sides of a situation, of an argument, of a controversy. And so, as an operating executive, oftentimes people show up and they're just making sure that their part works. And it's really hard to see how that might impact another member or another function. A lawyer has been trained to see how it all has to work together, or at some points I think you sort of empathize with all the stories that we've read and all the cases that we've read. You sort of learn how to empathize with different points of view. I think that makes the lawyer on the team, or at least somebody who's been trained as a lawyer, really interesting for leadership roles.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I got my bachelor's in criminal justice and I never had any intent of going to law school, nor did I. But I remember towards the end of my degree, my roommate, was going to take the LSAT. He's going to try and be a lawyer. He didn't really take it very serious. I mean, neither did I, right? Like he was planning on going into law enforcement, and so was I at the time, right? But he was like more seriously, I guess, factoring it in as an option, right? Well, if I do good on this test LSAT, maybe I'll actually take the real thing and maybe I'll go to law school, that sort of thing. But, it was a test LSAT or a practice LSAT. It was free. So I figured, why not? Right. Like I'm not paying for it. Went in, took it, didn't study at all. I did such a, I did such a bad job that essentially they gave me another practice LSAT for free. They sent me the code. They didn't even send me the score. I literally don't know what that score is to this day. So that's fantastic. But, I think one thing that my program did really well was that they put you in that mindset of being able to view a certain situation from multiple angles. And, it was interesting because one semester we had to basically argue our point for or against, in like paper format, like on a report, right, that we were putting together. And then the next semester, the class was taught by a SEC like practicing attorney, and she assigned different groups, different cases. She would assign like you're for it, you're against it. This is what you're